Good afternoon and welcome to the People's Verdict. I'm Patrick Soko, and as usual, today we have another interesting episode of the People's Verdict, and today we are actually looking at reviewing key policies after UPND'S 9 months in office. That's our focus of discussion, where we'll be touching on a number of key policy pronouncements under the UPND administration. And my able guest today to help me discuss this issue is coming from the leadership movement, and he is the president of the political party. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here. I'm also happy to be given this chance to discuss these key issues. Thank you very much.
We are glad that you could find time, Dr. Richard SILUMBE, to be with us in the studio. We value your support. And just to get started with our conversation, we're just going to get the perspective of the leadership movement regarding how they've been faring in the political fraternity this far.
Well, we have been clear as leadership movement, despite the fact that we participated in the election, for instance, and the people opted to choose the UPND. And despite that, leadership movement has continued working, and we now see the relevance of actually having the leadership movement because, let's face it, we have seen that the New Dawn government came in power without a plan. Much of the work they have done has come to the disappointment, and many people are disappointed out there because they did not anticipate to see what the New Dawn government is doing today. We can look at, first of all, the issue of corruption. They were singing songs of corruption, songs of thieves, thieves, thieves. 9 months down the line, no one is arrested, no one is behind bars, and they are now blending with the so-called criminals, who are the PF. As leadership movement, we have been clear, we do not want to see corruption growing up to the level where it can bear fruits and further produce more plants. So we need to curtail corruption. How do we curtail corruption? We need to ensure that those people who are found wanting, they are arrested, they are put behind bars. This is why leadership movement has always been clear on this policy. We want corruption to be non-bailable and to be 37 years imprisonment, so that we forget about corruption. We send a serious warning to this government and previous governments to come that corruption is an intolerable issue because it is draining the country of its resources. So that is one thing that we have seen. Secondly,
okay. Before you were jumping ahead, but I would want us to go stage by stage, but rather we'll continue on the aspect of corruption which you have started, and I want to also you to pick it up from the same issue of corruption, so that we can make sure that our viewers follow us sector by sector. You mentioned the issue of corruption. Let's weigh in the fight against corruption. We have seen a number of people being arrested, especially those who served in the previous administration, Dr. SILUMBE. Don't you think there is quite a political will from the UPND administration?
Let's face it, all these jokes we are hearing in the media about the fight against corruption, they are just jokes, mere jokes. What do we mean by fighting corruption? We need to punish those people who are found wanting. People who have pocketed government resources must be punished. Have we seen anyone punished? Nothing. So this is a joke of the UPND government showing that they are fighting corruption, and yet they are not fighting corruption. And by so doing, having criminals found with 65 million, you just get the money, you shake your hands, you say, thank you very much, you are done. Having a person who has 150 houses built, a non-cadre, who has now amassed wealth, and you arrest him one day, he comes out and is bragging everywhere. Having people, we are hearing money that has been misappropriated, and for that matter, we even hear the head of state coming on a press and says, I know there are people who have been corrupt, They are unfortunate. We have laws that protect these criminals. Someone who has stolen 100 million, if he brings 1 million, we can shake hands and forgive them. This is not me. Ask me next time or privately. I don't feel good, but there's nothing I can do. We as leadership movement are saying enough is enough. If it were a leadership movement in power, such kind of laws would have been suspended instantly, because the executive has got those powers. The head of state is supposed to suspend those laws that protect criminals. He is elected to protect Zambians and not criminals. So this fight against corruption, which is a joke, no one is currently in jail. 9 months down the line, imagine a person steals a bag of maize. What do we expect from them? 2 years in jail, imprisonment. A person steals a wheelbarrow. What do we expect? Do we expect them to be moving around within 6 months, if not weeks? The case is concluded and they are in jail, serving for 5 years. But we have allowed ourselves with these politicians who are more or less the same to maneuver through, protect each other. And we are seeing already the fusing. Criminals, they fuse into the UPND and they are protected. And what we have seen now, the fight against corruption and its tone today, it is giving this current administration the immunity. These ministers of today are learning that even if you steal, nothing will happen. And by 2026, 2031, we'll be seeing these guys flying planes. You see, they'll be flying planes because they would have stolen enough. They would have learned that those previous criminals that Zambians evicted from power are actually protected, and therefore there's nothing to lose. Even if you steal, nothing will happen to you. This is the message that the UPND government and the New Dawn government is sending to its ministers.
Don't you think for now they are protected in the sense that they haven't been convicted for them to be referred to as criminals?
That is the kind of joke that I'm talking about, where you have seen criminals, you have found people with massive amounts of money, and you are busy saying, no, they are not convicted. Let's find people who can't even explain where that money came from. A person, a non-businessman, any business person would explain each and every one kwacha he has. If only politicians have got no way to explain their wealth. We know someone, for instance, has built 150 houses in 3 years of being a minister. We know his salary. We know his allowances. We know he doesn't have any business, and then he has amassed so much wealth. And you say that no, he's not guilty, therefore he should be moving around. We are joking. We are really joking. This kind of joke fight against corruption must stop. We need to suspend those laws that protect these criminals. Let them be behind bars so that we can set the record, so that these newcomers, new ministers should learn that they should never come close to government resources. And when we do that, we'll be protecting the New Dawn government itself, and we'll be protecting future governments from pilfering government resources.
Interesting. In case you are just joining us, you are watching The People's Verdict with me, your usual host, Patrick Soko, and my guest today is the Leadership Movement President, Dr. Richard SILUMBE. We are just tackling the issue of corruption. And just now, I just want to also get your perspective regarding another topical issue, mining, which you as the Leadership Movement, you have also been emphasizing on. Well, we have also seen that mining policies have not changed much in terms of the previous administration, and we've also seen that there's actually some incentives that have been given to the mining sector. Do you think it is ideal that we go that route? What should be the way forward for us to benefit effectively from the mining sector as a country?
We as Leadership Movement, we've been clear about that. We believe in self-sustainability. We believe that we, the Zambian people, should benefit from resources. We have been electing governments after governments, politicians after politicians. Most of them funded by these foreigners, so that these foreigners, once they are in power, they can enjoy now the wealth. Look at what is going on today. These foreign investors, they no longer pay tax. They are on tax breaks, tax holidays, and we have already seen that there is already an evidence that even those foreign investors who actually left this country worse than they found it, like the Vendetta, for instance, and KCM, abandoned that company, they went away. Today they are coming back because now they will no longer be paying tax, and so on and so forth. So my message to the Zambian people is that we should open our eyes. We have been given this brainwashing for a long time, where we believe that we cannot run the mines. This is the common mentality as a result of brainwashing, as a result of colonialism, slave trade. We believe that we cannot run our own mines. We need some foreign investor to come and dig the copper on our behalf. But when we go back in history, we know that we could do those things. We know that we were having hoes and spears out of crafted steel. People, blacksmith could just smelt stones rich in iron, and we could make hoes, we could make steel. At Kaflafuta and Bwana Mkubwa, people could just pick stones that are rich in copper, and we could smelt them, make copper bangles, copper plates, until 1890, when that thing was banned. All blacksmiths who could produce steel or metals out of stones, they were banned when the BSA company was coming into full colonialism in Zambia in 1890 to protect the copper belt. After that, brainwashing started. And today, every Zambian believes that we cannot run our mines. We should just give them back to foreigners, and we start moving around with balls trying to beg from them. So we as leadership movement are saying that we can run our own mines. There is no need to give foreign investors. By the way, under the leadership movement, you are going to see ZNS gold mine in Kasenseri district. You are going to see ZNS uranium mine in Solwezi, ZNS manganese mine in Mansa, ZNS cobalt mine in Kabwe, and ZNS copper mines dotted all over copper belt. It's time we got our mineral resources, we benefited from them, so that we can now become a country that is sustainable. Unlike what is going on, we cannot afford, when we are seeing Chinese, a Chinese will come into Zambia without anything. He will go into Chongwe, cons some villager, gets a piece of land, and from there he starts a makeshift mine with just picks and shovels, and barefoot Zambian villagers there. Within 1 month, they find gold, they find copper, they sell those minerals, and they are rich already. They are millionaires, and they change that makeshift mine into a bona fide mine. And we have seen all these mines around in Serenge, all over, by foreigners. And we, the Zambian people, we are always repeating this lie. No, we cannot run the mines, only foreigners. Under the leadership movement, whether it will be with picks and shovels, we'll be able to run our own mines, because that is the lot we have. And from there, if we are able to benefit, imagine the price of copper today is more than $10,000 per ton. If we can produce those tons and we sell by ourselves, we could be making money that we can now start transforming mines that started, ZNS mines, by the way, that started with just picks and shovels, into mechanized mines that would eventually
what
allow us
do you
to
think is the problem on the current administration to utilize the ZNS? Are we effectively using and utilizing the ZNS as a country to help create wealth and jobs for the country?
It's the brainwashing. We have been brainwashed. We have been, for the lack of a better word, we have undergone a mindset castration, whereby we believe that there is nothing we can do as Zambians. We believe that when a foreigner who doesn't have anything, they come into this country, they pick a shovel and a pick and dig for minerals, and they produce those minerals, they make money out of it, us, we always think that it is impossible for us. Only foreigners can do that. So this mindset, brainwashing, we have now slowly developed a colonial mindset that believes that only foreign things are better. We would rather go and buy from foreigners. We have developed this colonial mentality that thinks that only foreigners can develop Mother Zambia. This is the biggest problem that we have. We are running under a colonial mentality that wants foreigners. This is why when a politician stands before Zambians and say, I have a lot of investors at my back. When you vote for me, I'll bring those investors. And everyone will move to say, oh, we need investors. Let's vote for these people and we'll be living well. We don't ask ourselves, why do we want real money from these people who are actually coming to use our natural resources? Why don't we get the natural resources and sell those natural resources and get the genuine money from those people through Forex? This is what Eastern countries, by the way, are doing. We should move away from the mindset that believes that government should not be running businesses. This is what was done by Western countries. These colonizers, they told us that we should not be running business as government. We should only believe in foreign investors. And yet when we look at the countries that are now rising stars in this world, the Eastern Bloc, they are all running their state-run companies. I can give you an example of China. Each Huawei phone you have, that's a government company. And all money goes to government. We can talk about Saudi Arabia. The oil fields there, they've not privatized. No foreign investor is there. They are running their oil fields as government, and all the money goes to government. Russia, all the oil fields belong to government. We can talk about Malaysia, we can talk about Singapore, and all these countries that are going up, that are developing because they don't have this mindset that we have been given by foreign Western countries, who, by the way, used slave labor. They amassed wealth in the US and in all these European countries. And when they had a lot of money, they stopped doing any business and they let a private sector to do its business. And now that you people, you have not done anything, you have not benefited from any slave labor, you don't have any reserves, and you are following what they are telling you, that you should not be doing business, you should just sit back and wait for foreign investors to come and help you, which will never translate to development. We should learn from the Eastern Bloc how these countries are growing up, how these countries are running their affairs. That's the only way we can develop as a people. Let us invest in our own people, have our own mines, run ZNS, run mines, ZNS run state farms, and let us be productive. Because without production, we can never run any economy that can take us anywhere.
In case you are just joining us, you are watching The People's Verdict, and we are discussing key policies after 9 months of the UPND in office. And my guest is Dr. Richard SILUMBE from the Leadership Movement. He is the president of that political party, and we have just tackled 2 sectors in terms of our review, looking at corruption. We also looked at the issue of the mining sector. Still talking about the mining sector, the way the Black Mountain is being handled, is it any better compared to the previous administration being the PF?
We have been clear as Leadership Movement because we have not seen any solution neither from the PF nor from the UPND government. The bottom line is this: the Zambian people in the Copper Belt, they want to participate in mining. You cannot tell a person who has lived as a miner, working in the mine for a long time, he has retired, for him to go and do agriculture. He cannot do that. He needs to set up a private sector, a private mining system. So what we are seeing with the Black Mountain, for instance, we as Leadership Movement believe that the Zambians in the Copper Belt have just been lied to. They have been cheated, that the only way they can participate in mining is by lining up on that dangerous Black Mountain, which is west from the mining industry. We as Leadership Movement have been clear to these people, and by the way, very soon we'll be going to the Copper Belt to teach the Zambian people there, these people who love to be miners, how to process copper and come up with copper itself out of all that copper ore. We want the Zambian people to do mining not on the Black Mountain but on their backyard. We know that when we talk, for instance, of the whole Nkana constituency, it sits on the copper belt. Busakile has copper just on the surface. You dig a hole there, dig a well, you are removing copper ore. The whole Kwacha constituency sits on copper ore. Why should you go and start fighting over Black Mountain? So we need to teach the Zambian people how our forefathers used to make copper bangles out of copper ore. This is what we need to teach the Zambian people so that they can process copper at a very local level and produce tons of copper and be able to sell and participate in the mining industry. So this is what we want to teach the Zambian people, to say, don't go to the Black Mountain, just get to the backyard, start digging your copper there. Don't go to the Black Mountain, go to your field. If you have a small field, you are growing maize there, just start digging and get the ore from there, and we will give you some principles of processing that ore, and you are going to have copper from there. Enough is enough to be lied to be brainwashed, to think that copper is only found on the shaft on KCM or Mopani or wherever. We used to have open pit mines there. Those were just demarcated places. So people shouldn't be brainwashed to think that copper is only where the white people are, where the foreigners are. This is why the Chinese, they can make a mine anywhere. In Serenge, in Chongwe, everywhere there are mines, there are copper mines. And we are blinded as Zambians. We are always living in darkness, and we think that only foreigners can tell us where copper is. They say, oh, Black Mountain, there is some little copper there. You all go, the whole community, killing each other in a dangerous place, and yet that is just waste. You are leaving the copper on your backyard, on your house there, just in your yard, there is copper there. That place was designated only for living, because at that time they couldn't mine everywhere. We need to go the Chinese way. When Chairman Mao became president of China, he told the villagers, the farmers, that it's not enough to be just agriculturists. You need to set up blast furnaces. Let us start processing the iron, because China, much of China has got iron ore. And in those villages, people built small kilns. They started producing steel, and the steel boom is what has made where China is. It's not foreign investors. It's the people themselves participating in producing steel. This is what we want the copper belt to be. All those lovers of copper, the Jerabos, we want them to participate in getting the copper. And if your government has given you permission to get copper from that Black Mountain, why can't they give you permission to dig at your place? Moreover, you are just at your home, and you can dig as many. If you want to make wells, make 5 wells at your own house. If you want to make in Uganda, make 6 of them. What about security
concerns, Mr. President?
Which security concerns?
When we putting people's life at risk, because people may be ending up burying themselves in those shallow wells we're talking about.
It's not about
or ditches that would be in the backyard.
Let me say this. It's not enough to be scared of security so that you can enrich foreigners. Look at the situation in which we are today. Foreigners are amassing wealth because copper has appreciated the price, and they are making billions, and we're not even getting taxes from there. And we keep our people in darkness because we are scared that they'll be. It's the same thing. In fact, it's safer to do your digging at your home, because after you have processed, you can even bury those places, than to allow these foreigners to be abusing our minerals. We want every Zambian to participate. We want every Zambian to benefit from those minerals. And by the way, we need training. We are going to provide training. This is what the New Dawn government should be doing.
When is
to
that
train the people
starting?
So that they are able to know how to manage those makeshift mines. at their places, because we want every Zambian to participate in the copper boom. Look at the electric car industry. It's skyrocketing. You mean that you are going to leave only KCM and Mopani to benefit from the electric car boom because copper will be needed? We want every Zambian who loves to be a miner in the copper belt to participate at a small scale. And we give them licenses. That is the way to go, and not what the new Dawn government is doing.
When is that training starting of you equipping the miners on the copper belt? We
will be going very soon. We will announce to you, and we will actually invite you to be part of the team that will participate into covering the training. We want Zambians to know that we have lost our values. We want to rediscover the lost values. What our forefathers used to do. They never lined up to foreigners. We used to make our own hoes. We used to make our own spears. We were not importing that steel. We could make it here in Zambia. We could make copper plates. You go to Kaflafuta and Bwana Mkubwa, you see that for centuries there has been copper that has been processed by the Zambian people. But this brainwashing has led us to lose our most valued resource, which is knowledge. And we are now moving like chicken wherever they toss us, wherever these foreigners come, take us. Oh, now you should go to the Black Mountain. People start fighting there. And yet they've left copper just on the surface, on their backyard, in their farms, in all their fields. They have left copper there, and they are running to the Black Mountain. These are the things that we want to correct as leadership movement.
You are watching the People's Verdict. In conversation, we have the leadership movement president, Dr. Richard SILUMBE. You too, our dear viewers, can add your perspective to the conversation we are having in the studio by calling that number that is on your screen, as well as on our Facebook platform, by sharing your perspective and your views on various issues we are discussing this moment. Just now, we look at this other interesting sector, which is the decentralization process that has been undertaken by the United Party for National Development Administration. Looking at the decentralization, it has come with a package which the UPND and other stakeholders call the game changer, in the name of the upscaled CDF allocation from 1.6 million kwacha to 25.7 million kwacha, which is allocated to all the constituencies in Zambia. Just your perspective, Dr. SILUMBE, there. The CDF, what analysis have you conducted as a political party? How should this issue be managed? Or your take, overall perspective on this subject of the Constituency Development Fund? We have the first quarter allocation released at the moment, and so far some projects have kick-started, other projects haven't started yet, and due to what the Ministry of Local Government had cited as some of the structural issues that they need to clear to steer rural development. Hence, some constituencies haven't utilized the money. Your take on that issue?
First of all, the elephant in the room is corruption. That really is the bedrock for all project failures. The UPND government, rather the New Dawn government, has not sorted that out. What we are going to see with regards to this CDF that has been dispersed is that those people managing CDF, very soon they'll be driving very expensive cars. By the way, they were not driving, today they'll be driving. Come December, you'll find that nothing really has happened. Few people have become rich out of it, and nothing has happened as a result of that funding in terms of development at constituency levels. This is the reason why we are talking about corruption. We need to curtail corruption so that that money is safeguarded. If they see that so many people have been punished, so many people are in jail, we are going to safeguard that money. So much that even people...
Ero, you are through to Kamne TV. Ero, you are through to the People's Verdict. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Yes, this is one calling from Makin.
From where, sir?
Lusaka.
Makin Lusaka. You can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yes, Mulishani Wakalamba.
What they want to know and not be there on our broker. But it's not that to the other broker. So I'm not responsible to the best of the situation. Our talking was very much because here they are only going back at that. That's what we know. As our life of now, we let it take today. They are and it's not to say in Kabata. But I'm not going to let them know the stuff. They'll just for you. Coming to a topic of two, but this is not to be example. But I'm going to be at this country over the only one that I'm about. One of our friends said that I understand nothing about it. But to find out the place of the situation, for instance, here the system just to be just harming. Do this. Very far I understand what you know. That's for the phone, what you for the thing that you discovered about it. La president, you shall open that to one of the doctors. Then they will put it on the left and not your question of the ground of the then this is the one state of statistics economy. What is this thing? So according to the statistics, according to the people are trying to see here now. Now, what are the lot of people on that state? They are never see it. They never I'm not person, I'm not trying that can place pressure to different population. That's not the looking about the result of so these are issues that like to talk to us corruption or whatever, you don't see us later. What do you think is about that money? You see? So after let's talk about this issue, this government, let's think the direction of these people. Currently, people who want to concession, they are like this of they are all countries. They don't understand what the previous government did. Just like the people in the work community. This is the thank you, sir.
Thank you for your contribution. We value your support to the program. Dr. SILUMBE, you were responding to the issue of CDF in case you can also touch to it in case to his comment if you want to. You can proceed.
Yes, sir. So I was saying that the first problem that we have with this CDF is that it lacks protection because people have seen that they can be corrupt and they can get away with it. There is no punishment whatsoever. It's all dragging in courts and nothing will happen. In the end, they just forget about it. So this is where we have doubts. And I can assure you, come December, you call me here and I'll be saying what I've said today. That nothing has happened as a result of not attending to these two things. Number one, corruption. Number two, we do not have much vision or people who are vision carriers in those areas. So in any case, whether there is vision or no vision, at least if the resources are secured, we would be having CDF brought back in full to central government by the end of December to say thank you very much to the Treasury. You gave us 25.7 million, but we didn't have the vision to implement any project, but we have brought it back. In this case, it will be worse because even that money would have been squandered. So decentralization is very good. It's a very good program, but it needs to be backed up by so many things that should, first of all, protect the money, and secondly, instill the vision, the program, the progress in terms of implementing and realizing the development that we need.
In case you are joining us, you are watching The People's Verdict on Camnet TV, not just another channel, and we are discussing, or rather reviewing key policies after the UPND'S 9 months in office, and we've talked about a number of issues, and just now we were looking at the issue of the Constituency Development Fund. You too can add your perspective on this subject we are having this afternoon so that we can get the conversation going. You can equally do the same on our Facebook platform by sending us that text message. We will be able to read it through as we go ahead on with our conversation on reviewing key policies after the UPND'S 9 months in office. And let's look at one other key issue, Dr. SILUMBE, the cost of living. And these are the policies that the government is implementing. One of the issues the current administration had advocated for while in opposition was ensuring that the cost of living is reduced, because even before the UPND, the cost of living has been escalating, and they assured that they were going to reduce the cost of living. And now, according to the basic needs assessment that is conducted by the Jesuit Center for Theological Reflection, JCTR, we see that the cost of living for a family of 5 living in Lusaka, it stands about 9,000 kwacha. But how many can afford that kind of money, Dr. Silumbe? And is the administration being proactive or practical in terms of reducing the cost of living? Your view on that?
Yes, first of all, when the UPND was in opposition, they promised the Zambian people that when they are sown in at 10 hours, at 14 hours, the dollar will come tumbling down. Imagine such kind of lies. Little did they know that actually the dollar will never come down. The kwacha can never appreciate until it is backed up by production. That's what differentiates the leadership movement from these common politicians, because they are all talk, no action. They don't even know what runs the economic systems, what runs the economy. The wheels that spin the economic development is production. You can never produce a budget that has nothing to do with production. It's all theoretical, consumption and so on and so forth. We as leadership movement know that without production, this is where you get to. It's about slogans. You say, no, we will get power and then we will change the economy. It is all theory and it cannot work. Under the leadership movement, we would be saying, when we are sown in at 10 hours, at 14 hours, you would be hearing, first thing first, suspending those laws that protect criminals, that the head of state was talking about. Any law, even if it is in the constitution, because the executive has got powers to even suspend the constitution. When we are done with that, on the same time, 14 hours, would be declaring ZNS mine in Kasenseri district for gold production. We would be declaring ZNS uranium mine, so that we can handle our uranium and sell and get something from the uranium that we are producing. That today we don't even know where it goes. We don't even get anything out of uranium. We would be declaring on the same time the mines, ZNS run copper mines in every town in the copper belt. Whether it will be with picks and shovels, it doesn't matter, as long as it's a mine and it will be producing tons and tons of copper. We would be declaring ZNS run cobalt mine in Kabwe, ZNS run manganese mine in Mansa in Kabwe, ZNS run other chromium and all these other minerals that we have in this country. When we are done with that, we'll be declaring state farms, ZNS state farms in every district, so that millions of young people are given jobs. Today it's a joke of jobs, 40,000 jobs. What can it do to the economy? We are talking about 4 million young people put in state farms, in ZNS run mines, so that after 1 year, 6 months of production, they are put on salary, because we would have gotten a lot of gold. Imagine the New Dawn government is still grappling with looking for a foreign investor to pick the gold that, by the way, villagers are just picking. In Kasenseri district, we are waiting for an investor. No, we want a foreign investor to come. And we have stopped people from mining. So these are the ideas that will jumpstart the economy. Production. We would be declaring ZNS run cement manufacturing, so that we can start making our own roads, which are concrete roads. 100 years guarantee that will be made by the Zambian people under ZNS, so that we get rid of all those billions of kwachas that we are spending on be it these international foreign contractors who are building our roads, Avic International, and so on and so forth. All that money will be reserved. So this is the direction that the leadership movement will take, and within 1 month, you are going to see significant change in the economic setup, because we'll be productive, we'll be able to sell tangible products to foreign countries and gain forex, genuine money, not this debt we are seeing the New Dawn government moving around with a ball trying to beg. We cannot depend on debt. We need to do what we can do with the only things that God has given this country. 2 things, God's blessings. Number 1, we have been given energy of the young people. Millions of young people currently, they have nothing to do. They are just wasting their energy. Leadership movement will make use of that energy in millions. We will give them jobs. Number 2, we have natural resources such as land, minerals. All these, we are not using them. We are thinking that God somehow created these foreigners differently from us. And yet there is only one thing that is written in the Bible. We were created in the image of God. And what is that image? The ability to create, the ability to make things. This is why these other people, the foreigners, the Western countries, the Easterners, they have realized that they should use this gift of creation, making things. When you make things, tangible things, you produce, you give to others, you trade. We are so accustomed by this brainwashing that we need money first for us to do anything. But if we are to define what is money, money is not a product. We cannot go and line up to look for IMF. Money is not a product. Money is a medium of exchange. So if money is a medium of exchange, what are you giving in return for you to get that money? You need to produce products. So if we are productive as a country, we sell these products. Imagine we have state farms. We sell millions of metric tons to Congo. In Congo, there, a bag of mealie meal is costing from 700 to 800 kwacha, whilst here it's 150. That is a business opportunity. If we can produce enough maize, sell, we get millions from Congo, we sell other things, we sell our minerals, within 2 months, you'll be seeing massive change in this country. After 1 year, 6 months, training of our 4 million young people, whom we are going to recruit under ZNS, we would have raised all the money we need for them to be on salaries. By after 1 year, 6 months, all of them will be getting salaries and will be good to go with a very strong economy, and the country will start producing because it has money. It is able to sell something to the world, giving something out. In exchange for that, we get money. Not this idea we have, a confused idea we have as a country that money somehow should be there before you can do something. No, we don't have money, we can't do this. We don't have money, we can't do that. We don't have money, we can't recruit. You have, money. Currency is the kind of cheap labor that we have. The millions of young people that we have, that is currency. That is the value. Number 2, the natural resources, land, minerals. When we use this energy into producing minerals, producing crops through our land, and we get the products, we sell them, we are going to have money, and we will be good to go.
But are you willing to share those ideas with the government if they invite you on the table?
This is what we have been doing. We have been on record, and you are helping me, by the way, to share this message, because we are talking about these things and hoping that the New Dawn government can adopt some of these things and we can reduce the sufferings by the Zambian people. By the way, if the New Dawn government does these things, we'll be better off and we'll be happy as leadership movement, because we are equally suffering. We are equally feeling the pain, the heat of the economic disaster that we are in today. So this crisis has to be dealt with with these ideas that we are giving up. And we are talking, and we are everywhere. We know that the UPND government is listening, and we only hope that they can adopt some of these ideas. We are not waiting for us to be in power to do these things unless they are completely deaf and they don't want to alleviate the current situation.
Let's talk about now the political fraternity. How would you describe the political landscape at the moment? When you compare with the previous administration and the United Party for National Development Administration. In terms of the political climate, how is it?
Well, there is one thing that we cannot get away from the New Dawn government, and we have been saying it. They are good in terms of providing the leeway for opposition, for instance, to express their views, and contrary to what used to happen with the PF government, this is why as leadership movement, we have designated the PF government as a criminal government. Those were criminals. Those were a bunch of criminals, and they did not support the kind of democracy that we are seeing today. So that is one thing that we cannot take away from the New Dawn government, and we always talk about that. It's a positive, and when people are doing something good, we need to support them. This is why you see leadership movement has been very objective. We are criticizing the New Dawn government for their failures, for their lies, and so on and so forth. But we know that they have done one or two things that are good. For instance, the education, free education is a need to the Zambian people. All we need is to work it around it so that it can work for the Zambian people. We don't want free education to translate into non-quality education. So these are some of the things that we see they are doing well, and we can categorically say that this is the right direction. So in terms of providing a platform where people can actually air their views, the New Dawn government has done it, and we cannot take away from them that kind of approach. I think it is good for the country, it's good for development.
What challenges did you face, especially as being an opposition political party, to mobilize your political party previously?
Of course, previously the PF government, as you know, as we have said that it's a criminal government, it did not give any opposition political party platform for them to grow, to share their ideas. I'm sure the UPND government was also a casualty to that. They were victims. Everyone was a victim. So we know that at this time, at least the New Dawn government has done something, and we can commend them.
We are talking about the revision of the Public Order Act. The UPND administration did approve that, in terms of cabinet approving that the Public Order Act should be tabled in the forthcoming sitting of Parliament. So what is your take on that? What sort of revision should be undertaken on the Public Order Act?
As leadership movement, we are still studying the act. We will give our own proposals because everyone is looking at that, and we think that we will be able to add our voice and be able to pinpoint some of the areas that we want to work on.
Interesting. Before we wind up our discussion, we just want to get what you've been up to as a political party and the way forward for you as we come towards the end of our discussion.
Well, as leadership movement, we are vigorous in actually giving these ideas, the 4 pillars that we stand for as leadership movement. Unfortunately, time has not been with us. We believe that every Zambian should own land with title deeds. That's the first pillar in our manifesto. We want Zambians to be able to own land so that they can walk into any bank. They shouldn't depend on FISIP. They should be able to walk into a bank, access money, be able to buy fertilizer on time, to buy seed on time, and be able to invest on their land and start growing bigger and better. Number 2, we want to create millions of jobs and not thousands of jobs. These joke jobs we see with the New Dawn government, that neither there nor there, because in the hierarchy of job creation, the first jobs you should create are primary jobs where production is direct. These secondary jobs can come in the second phase. So we are talking about millions of jobs to young people into ZNS state farms, into ZNS mining companies that we are going to create in every district, in all over the country, dotted around where minerals are found. That will gobble millions of young people. And we are also going to start producing our own cement, ZNS run, to be able to construct our own roads, not being dependent on AVIC, who'll be doing this. And with these activities, we are going to get millions of young people out of poverty and out of the streets. Number 3, the third pillar, we want to provide tax breaks and tax holidays to Zambian businesses, contrary to what we are seeing with the New Dawn government, which has given tax breaks and tax holidays to foreigners at the expense of the Zambian people. We want the Zambian businesses, startup businesses, to grow bigger and better and start competing with foreigners. We want to give them those tax breaks and tax holidays. Whilst we are taxing foreigners, any foreign company should be taxed, because we know that those are not good Samaritans who are coming to this country to develop Mother Zambia. These are conquerors who are coming to reap out of this country, and they will leave it worse than they found it, just like we have seen in the Copper Belt. When I was young, I used to be in the Copper Belt. Those places were very good with beautiful amenities. What has happened today? It's a disaster. It looks like Baghdad, like a war zone. So we do not believe in investors. We are going to tax them viciously as we empower our local businesses to grow bigger and better. The fourth pillar, we want to support our local industry, our local businesses, our local products. It support your local team. Local is laka. So these are the things that provide the foundation upon which the leadership movement is standing. And this is the message that we are preaching to the whole country, and to ensure that we once again rediscover our lost values and deliver the great gift to future generations, the great Zambia.
We thank you for making an appearance on the People's Verdict.
Thank you very much.
Well, our dear viewers, as usual, as we say, this is a platform for divergent views, and views expressed on this program do not represent that of Camnet TV, but those of our individual guests. And we've been in conversation with the Leadership Movement President, Dr. Richard SILUMBE, and we've come to the end of the program. Make sure you make a date with us next week as we come with another interesting episode of the People's Verdict. Remember to continue watching Camnet TV. As you already know, Camnet TV is not just another channel. Stay tuned.